Imagine this. You're a young kid in Pasadena with a passion for football. Throughout your childhood, you faced many challenges destined to lead you down the wrong path. The love you have for the sport led you back to college, ultimately creating a foundation for business in which you found your purpose, which is giving back to your community. Today's guest will navigate us down that path and how we found success. This is The Plug, people lending us game.
I am the plug. I am the plug. I am the plug. I am the plug.
Welcome everybody to The Plug. I'm one of your hosts, Henry Crockett.
Dria B.
I am Nick Beam. What's up, world?
And now that we're back, we've got a new person bringing out the flow and friction today. Miss Dria, what you got to talk to us about?
Usually it's Nick that brings this to us. But I had to come through because, we both in entertainment. But,
yeah.
I live and breathe the movies.
Yeah, you just got back from L.A.
I know. I got Oscar season.
Yeah.
It's Oscars in L.A., but it was weird this season. It's not quite the same. It's not quite COVID-free yet. But they did try to do something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But it didn't work. Like, everyone's saying that it was a flop. All around the whole programming, and even the numbers, like usually they do about 26 million that night in viewers. It was barely under 10.
That's insane,
right?
That's insane.
That's bad.
Very. I mean,
but we didn't have movies though this season either. I mean, everything went to streaming for the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't watch the Oscars.
He said you don't watch the Oscars.
Clear. Okay. Well, this
obviously you're part of the
conversation then. Like, okay.
I'm the reason to ready for
Anyways, but there was a lot that happened that night, like in terms of flops, but also some wins too. The girl from Nomadland, the director, she was the first Asian woman to win, which is super dope. Shout out to her. Mm-hmm. Then we had the biggest flop of the night, which was Chadwick Boseman not winning for Best Actor, which I felt like. Really?
Right.
Like, really? It went to Anthony Hopkins, which is like, of course, he's amazing and no one's ever going to knock him for acting. But, I mean, dang, we didn't give it to Chadwick.
Right. I think Chadwick should have won. And I feel like, from what I'm understanding, the teleprompter and the production team was ready to give it to Chadwick, but it went to
Anthony
Hopkins, right.
And, I mean, he did it right. He, in his acceptance speech, he shouted him, it was like, this is for you, and did what he needed to do in terms of trying to rectify it as an actor.
Absolutely.
It's not his choice. It's the Academy's choice. But, it was a flop.
I mean, I think I would have to attribute a lot of the viewers not being able to watch it or wanting to watch it just because of everything that's going on. Obviously we're in a pandemic. We just dealt with the Chauvin case. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have affected the viewership.
Yeah.
Plus, there's been historically, there's always some type of snub that goes on. So there's a lot of actors and actresses that feel cheated anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like people are just fed up with watching. And it's like, and then those shows, no disrespect to the shows. I mean, I've been, to red carpets for different shows, and a lot of those shows aren't that entertaining when you're actually there.
But they tried to do something different with how they filmed, because the other ones, the Emmys, they split, right? They did it in New York and LA, and tried to do the split screen with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and it was interesting. This one, they tried to make it into a movie-like situation where there was a cast, and I get it. That everyone's trying to do their own pandemic version of things, and it's not going to be perfect, and there's going to be issues. But I think it's, like you said, throughout years of Oscars, the snubs on great acting, usually of people of color, has been an issue.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, it wasn't just Chadwick too. It was, and granted, it wasn't for a Marvel movie this time that he was up for, but even Andra Day for the Billie Holiday movie, she killed that role.
Snub.
And didn't get it, and went to the girl from Nomadland. I can't think of her name right now, but Frances McDermott. But to me, it's just they have their favorites, and they go with their favorites every year. Yeah. And even with the black and brown side, they still go there. If it was Denzel, he probably would have got it.
Right, which is surprising why Chadwick didn't get it, because Chadwick, if the acting game, usually there's a go-to guy.
Right.
Or a set of go-to people
Right.
that are casted for every movie. And that's kind of where I've always had an issue with these shows. You know, our entertainment is so vast and broad.
Right.
And it's for everybody. It's not just one specific demographic.
Right.
And, you know, we collectively as people of color are very talented.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, because this one token guy or girl didn't get an award, you snub everybody else. You know, it's just like, I feel like people are tired of seeing it. So I feel even if they got everything right with the show, the numbers reflect. The numbers don't lie. People wasn't watching it anyway. And I think also, too, you know, for me growing up, I've always tuned into different award shows. So I look forward to seeing how vast the crowd is. You know, it's a major crowd, and you know the applause of the show.
Right.
That's like traditional. That's what goes
Right.
into these type of shows. So regardless if it's the Emmys or Oscars, it's the MTV Awards or whatever award ceremony, you know, you're used to seeing so many people there. And now, you know, Anthony Hopkins is back in his native home.
Right.
You know, broadcasting from there.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like it's like blah, you know.
It's
weird.
weird.
It doesn't feel traditional. So I feel like people knew that
Yeah.
it wasn't going to be the same.
Yeah.
And along with historical snubbing, people wasn't trying to watch it.
It's true. There were some really dope wins though. Judas and the Black Messiah got a couple of really good wins. They
course.
got Best Supporting Actor for Daniel Kaluuya, who had arguably one of
Yeah.
the best speeches of
Absolutely.
the night. I don't know if he was lit, but he was very British and lots of color in his speech. And then her won for best song for that too.
Oh, yeah.
And she, you know,
Her song is dope on that
she
soundtrack.
killed it. So there were some other wins. I know you had a favorite win. You want to talk about your favorite win of the night?
Shout out to my boy Jamie Foxx on the Pixar movie Soul.
Soul was great.
That
Did
was
you
a
see
great
Soul? Yeah,
movie.
Soul was
Man,
I
amazing.
had to
dope.
watch it twice though. I had to. The first time, I mean, I watched it more as like, okay, it's an animation film.
Yep.
But then the second time, I really delved into like the meaning. Have you
Right.
seen it?
Yeah.
It
The
was
like the real
amazing.
meaning
It
of
was
it.
amazing.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Yep.
And that was the first Pixar film that was led by a black casting role as far as the lead.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, Jamie Foxx kills everything he touched. He's got the
Man,
Midas
go.
touch.
He
touch,
does.
touch everything, touch it turns gold.
Right.
Period. And it was a really good movie. I was intrigued by it. You know, I had to rewind a couple parts just to catch it because I knew that there was some underlying meanings. You
Right.
know, me being
Same.
big on the spirituality and esoteric signs and symbols, which is played throughout a
The
lot
whole-
of movies,
right.
and
Right,
it's
right,
like specifically in this movie.
That one,
Right.
yeah.
That
more
you
than
see
others.
these things. So yeah, there's underlying meanings in that movie. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I
Watch
would
it.
definitely recommend that you check it out.
Check
That's
out
one thing
Soul.
I do like though is that like that was one of the hardest parts I think of pre-COVID Oscars was trying to see all the movie. I mean, unless you went to the theater and saw all
Right.
the movies, I do like that they're all available right now on the streaming so that you can kind of. That was the one thing that I felt caught up at least when I
Yep.
was able to like watch the show and like knew.
Absolutely. One of the best things they could have done was do that. And I mean, for me, you know, being at home with the kids,
Right.
you know, screw the kids. I was like, oh man, you know, I pushed them off the TV like, oh, I get
just
to watch
push
all
your
my
kids off the
favorite
couch,
movies.
like,
Yeah, just get
bye.
out of here. No, because they literally loaded up all of my favorite movies.
Yep.
And the funny thing about it is Joey Badass got an Oscar too, and Diddy
Yep.
for
And Van Lathan for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I can't remember what that one is called, but yeah, it was a
Yeah.
short.
Yeah, it was a short.
Yeah.
I watched that one, and it was you get a lot of opportunities to check out movies that would normally be on the big screen.
Right.
I mean, I do miss not seeing movies on the big screen. I mean, now that we're kind of semi-open,
Right.
that they're allowing that now. But, you know, when the pandemic first hit, that was one of the things that I missed the most. That's like a pastime for me, is I'll go binge watch movies.
Right.
Oh.
So, yeah, you know, it's fun. You know, you get your popcorn, you get to chill out in front of the big screen.
Well,
you
some
get the full
movies like
effect.
that's exactly. Some movies like you just like with the King Kong and Godzilla. That's
Yes.
that one I only want to see on the big
You got it,
screen.
yeah, it's got to be big
Or
screen.
Marvel movies,
Yeah,
like I
all
want
the
to see
Marvel
that
movies.
big.
Yeah. Yeah, so I feel like, you know, I think all that plays into the part of the Oscars, you know, especially because people have been watching other award shows and they've been switching off a lot of stuff. So,
Right.
you know, hopefully the Oscars will get it right next year. You know, as long as there's a next year
Yeah.
and we're open, they'll get a chance. So,
I won't know. 'Cause once again, I will not be watching.
but what you plan on watching today or later on tonight is the NFL draft.
Yes,
Which is
yes.
held in Cleveland, by the way. Don't hate. Don't
Yeah,
hate.
yeah,
don't
yeah.
hate.
Shout out,
Anything to
shout out.
Shout out to my
Shout
city.
out.
You already know. You already know I got to shout out Cleveland. You already know it.
Yeah, well.
But it was supposed to be in Vegas.
Well, it was supposed to be in Vegas last year. Pandemic kind of dragged us out, took it
Yeah.
away from us.
Bummer.
But they voted us back in. So next year, 2022, the draft will be back here in Las Vegas.
In that thing.
And then at the same time, we have to talk about those Raiders because the Raiders do have the 17th and the 14th pick.
Word.
I'm sorry, 17th and the 48th pick. The 14th pick would have been dope, but we have the 17th and the 48th pick. And I mean, the thing about talking about Las Vegas this year, we actually have 7 potential guys that could go into the draft, but there's 2 big names that I think I want to let our guests later today shout out and tell us
Okay.
all about. But we've got 2 big-time recruits right now that are coming into the draft. They played well in college.
Okay.
And both went to high school out here. Shout out to Desert Pines.
Okay.
Shout out to Bishop Gorman. We'll
Word,
find out who
word.
those 2 people are when our guest comes on later. But are you excited for who the Browns might pick?
Listen, the Browns have been doing some phenomenal things in the offseason with free agency. So I'm excited about this season. I think they'll get it right. You know, we'll be tuned in.
Where do they fall in the draft?
They have a 26 pick.
26 pick. Yeah, they balled out this
Where do
past
the
season.
Seattle
So
Seahawks fall?
Seattle does not have a first-round pick this year. It's
What?
Because
unfortunate.
we're too
But,
good.
well, no, because
Don't hate.
they've spent a lot of money on that Russell Wilson guy. But shout out to Russell Wilson. He's dope. But they do need
And
an
Sierra.
offensive line to be able to protect my guy.
that's real.
That's true.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to see who these picks are for the Raiders. You know,
Yeah, same.
Seeing that this is our hometown now.
Right.
And this will be our first like real season, real season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully, you know, we get some good picks.
They
We'll
got
find
the
out who the
draft right last
homegrowns that's
year.
in the draft.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they get some of the homegrowns.
Man,
You know?
I'm excited for that part. I just want to watch till I see these 2 Las Vegas names get called. And then, of course, if any of the others get called, then that's going to be amazing. But that'll be the highlight of my draft night right there is to watch kids I've watched since they were little turn into NFL drafts.
All right. Well,
I'm excited.
you already know what's next up.
It's time for drinks.
That's time for drinks.
But-
No more water.
So here's what we'll do this time. Because checking my phone, it seems like our guest is just pulling up. So why don't you get things set up at the bar? Me and Nick will go grab the guest and meet you there.
All right.
Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it.
Later. What up, guys?
Yo.
Oh, I think
So-
I know this person.
Peace to
What
you,
it do?
brother.
I'm a
Let
little
me- let me
familiar.
get this seat.
But it's a different setting than I normally see this person.
Yeah,
so
a little bit.
now you're in my world.
All right, good to see you. Though.
It's good to
What's
see
going
you
on?
too.
Boom, high five. We
For
athletes.
those that don't know, our plug of the day is the one and only Mr. Mike
Mike
Waters.
Waters.
We here. We on.
He's also a serial entrepreneur and the owner of Phase One Sports. And
Facts.
you
We're
guys,
gonna get into that later.
Oh, okay,
This
cool.
is the
Oh,
fun
yeah.
time. They try
Oh,
to see
yeah.
they try to take over
Yeah,
my
I'm at the
interview.
bar. They talking business. See what
Yeah,
I'm
this
saying?
is not no. Wait, let
Business
me
all
get
around the
ready.
clock.
It's social hour.
Let's grab our drinks and we'll let y'all figure it out, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
and meet y'all back on the couch.
Yeah.
oh, we got a new color.
Yeah.
We got a new
Hold up, bro.
flavor for y'all.
Oh yeah, y'all fancy, man. Them cute. That's cute.
Yeah. You ain't
Yeah,
talking about
that's
doing
it. Y'all cute. I'm about to
He
do one
said
right now. What you
it's
know?
their Shirley Temple. And full of sugar. So you
Yeah,
gotta check
and
him
all
later.
sugar.
Yeah.
So we already
straight
know y'all abs ain't coming in for the summer.
You're gonna have to go harder. Okay, but what do you like to drink so I can make sure I get what you want? What are we
To
drinking?
be real with me, I keep it real simple.
Okay.
So if I am drinking, I like to go straight to the point.
Okay.
So shout it down Julio. That gets it started. And then
It'll be a long night with him.
I usually sip on a sugar-free Red Bull, something real light,
Okay.
and then just chill.
All right, let me get that for you. We're gonna go into why you drink that.
Let's do it.
All right. All right,
Yeah.
Mr. Shaman
Woo.
and sugar-free Red Bull.
You already know what it is.
Okay, so so if I'm trying to stay fit and keep my abs during party and pool season,
Yep.
why am I drinking this?
Well, my theory is this. If you are gonna drink, why not do less calories? So the shot gonna be less calories. Most people like mixed drinks with juice or sugar, carbs.
Yep.
I mean, if you're gonna party, try to do it to not mess up all the work that you put in the gym.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
Okay.
But outside of that, you just gotta do what you like.
I ain't mad at that. Cheers to you drinking your life.
Cheers.
So speaking of life,
Yep.
Is this where you? Let's rewind. Where did we grow up at? Where?
I grew up in SoCal.
Okay.
So yeah, grew up in
So
Pasadena
tequila's
area.
definitely a
Yeah,
fan of
it's
Southern
nothing.
California.
And as you speak of tequila, hold on.
Oh, okay, that's how. Okay, it's gonna be a real long interview with this one.
All right. Well,
Okay. All right. So SoCal,
yeah.
born and raised.
Born and raised in California. Played sports, kind of fell in love with football. Moved to Las Vegas in '99 to play at UNLV.
Okay.
And that's actually how I got to Vegas. So,
Okay.
you know, that was kind of my beginning of my story. And I landed in Vegas, and now I've been here for 20 years, which is crazy.
Wow. Okay, they're gonna take you through those 20 years, but I want to go
Okay.
back to SoCal.
Let's
What
go.
was it like? Because Southern California got some backyard parties. Y'all know how to like throw a barbecue. It's real different than city
Yeah,
life.
you
So
know.
so what was it like growing up with you?
You know, first of all, I mean, it's the best coast, so we got to start with that. Being on
okay.
the West Coast, so let's start with that.
Okay.
But no, it was exactly that. Family, barbecues, backyard boogies,
Right.
house parties. I mean, I started throwing house parties in 8th grade to where I would actually have them at the house,
Eighth
charging
grade?
$5 to get in.
Okay.
And just, you know, already starting my little hustle.
So
and
the
just
hustler
keeping
was inside of
it-
you from day one.
I was just trying to contain it until it was time. But yeah, it's been on.
All right.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate that? Because there's a lot of like it can be rough growing up in the streets of SoCal.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate that into like being a businessman, entrepreneur?
Yeah. I think for me, it was really the balance between. I had an older brother who was my like role model, played football. I kind of followed his path.
Right.
And once he got done with high school, he took a left turn.
Okay.
You know, he started selling drugs. He was, you know, in the streets, you know, kind of doing his thing. And there was a point of time that I looked at it like, all right, well, that's what you do. You know,
Right.
football over, school over, you in the streets.
Right.
But you know, he really took a turn for the worse. Now he had ended up getting locked up, served a couple years, and during that time, it made it like very clear that that's not the path I wanted. You know what I mean? So I was able to kind of see it, look at his mistakes, and go, cool. He went left, I'm going right.
Right.
You know what I mean? And luckily, I fell in love with football. I went to a junior college because I didn't have the grades coming out of high school. You know
I
what
can
mean?
relate that.
I was in the
Can relate.
classroom doing what I'm doing now, talking instead of listening.
Oh my God! My mom used to on report cards. They used to write that.
Yep, just can't get her to stop talking.
Yep.
So,
yep.
so I fell in love with football, went to JUCO, spent 2 years there, got my AA degree, transferred to UNLV, and that's actually what kind of really set me on that path.
Okay.
Because by then I understood it. My closest friend was serving a 19-year sentence.
Wow.
My oldest brother was in and out of jail, and then my nephew was serving a 14-year sentence. So it was just like night and day clarity on like,
You're like, that's not where I'm trying
yeah,
to go.
like,
Yeah.
yo. And then I start thinking about young people, especially young black kids that are growing up in those environments. And I started thinking like, how could I mentor them? How could I keep them on the right path so
Right.
they don't end up doing what most of my family did? And that
Right.
was really the beginning of, you know, phase one and everything else that we do.
The
Yeah,
start.
just kind of bringing it all together.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, this is the fun part of the interview. So tell me
Yeah.
what you do for fun. When you were not phase one, when you're not working out, when you're not doing all the stuff that he does on a regular basis, like training me, what do you what do you do for fun?
For me, I go to the shooting range. That's one of my hobbies.
Okay.
So I love just going out there, especially in the outdoor range, just having a little fun. And then I'm also big in cars. You know, I
Okay.
got a Camaro ZL1 1LE.
Yeah, I've seen
You
that
know,
one.
almost
It's a nice
700
ride.
horsepower. You
Yeah.
know, but so I love cars. That's been a family thing. We always been into cars. So really between those two, and then spend time with Beyonce. You know what I mean? Just
Okay,
chill,
right.
just do the quality time, and,
Yeah.
and that's it. I
Okay.
keep it simple. Keep
Yeah,
it simple.
Cali people keep it simple. Y'all are
We
just,
got
you
to.
know how to chill.
It's that Cali swag.
It
It's what
is.
we do.
It's that they're on their own time.
Yeah, of course.
I love it. Well, we definitely want to hear more about your stories. Let's take it back to the guys. I know they got a lot of questions for
Cheers.
you. So
Let's do
let's
it.
cheers your stuff. Cheers.
Cheers. Hey.
So you guys had fun, I would imagine.
We did. We did
Had
shots
to.
at the bar. Something you don't know about.
Call him out right off the rip.
That's what I was going to
Juice
say. He
shoots
came
very
back with
well.
the Red Bull. I'm like, oh, y'all must
Yeah,
be
he
doing
beat
some.
me
Oh,
too.
yeah.
He
He's
like,
doing work.
Oh yeah, we Don Julio'd it up in there.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Don. I love Don.
Hey, straight to the point sometime, man.
That's
Drink,
right.
catch us up.
so we went back through his SoCal days,
Yeah.
but now you're at UNLV. So
Mm-hmm.
take us from UNLV to phase one.
So UNLV for me was a great experience. I mean, at the end of the day, it was cool to change environments. You know what I mean? Because growing up in SoCal, that's all I was exposed to. You know, as a family, we didn't do a lot of traveling, so I didn't really have that exposure. So I remember like coming to UNLV and like Christmas break, friends on the team that are like, oh, my dad has a cabin and we're gonna go up to the mountains, and it's like, oh, what? You know what I mean? So I was really being exposed to so many different things that it just gave me a different perspective. And I think that's what really started triggering, like, man, there's so much more out there that I haven't been exposed to. So it really was a mindset shift for real from that moment. So it's been good.
Wow. And you graduated? Is that where you graduated from?
Yep. Finished there out of high school. Like I was telling Dria, had a scholarship, couple scholarship offers. Couldn't accept either one. Didn't qualify academically.
Got it.
You know, so learned the hard way. Went left for about a year, kind of in the streets a little bit. But I missed football. Like, I literally loved football. Like, literally. So hit my coach. He like, you got to go JUCO. I'm like, bet. Went to Mount Sac. Everyone said that was the best JUCO in our area. I went to Mount Sac, played 2 years, got my AA degree, transferred to UNLV. And really, it was about football. I hated school from day one to day done. Hated it. But by the time I got there, that's when I started connecting the dots on, like, you know what I mean? Like, how did I get here? I'm about to finish college, and my boys is in the streets, or they still at home with their parents. You know, it's just a lot going on, and I'm like, wait, I'm kind of removed from it. Right. So I narrowed it down mentally to, like, football. And it's crazy because when I got done at UNLV, that was the brainchild of phase one. It was like, man, if I could just intervene right at that 8th, 9th grade and just help guide these young athletes, especially a lot of ones that look like us, young black athletes that we know. And if I could just channel that energy, then I could probably make a big difference and make an impact. And that was the beginning. That's why I called it phase one.
Right.
It's the beginning, the first phase.
Started.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Super dope.
What drinks y'all sipping on? Like, Nick, what is it you have? That looks like you got a drink like mine.
Listen.
Yeah, both y'all a little fruity on the drinks. I ain't saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's a little fruity.
They just like their Shirley Temples. Okay, you gotta let them
Shirley
live.
We're not gonna talk about my drinks. We already know if we put the brown on the table, everybody's gonna be
Now
quiet.
you gotta flex.
So let's just keep it calm and collective.
And if was a fifth or whatever you talking about.
Hey, I mean, we can do, listen, once my drink is done, we can go ahead and head to the bar and get a couple rounds of the brown.
I'm ready.
All right. What about you, Dria?
Champagne.
Hey, listen, I ain't actually
I drink every single episode. What you mean?
Okay. Hey,
Y'all
listen,
been on Shirley Temples the last 2 episodes.
I've been fasting, so that's my explanation.
Fasting.
New question.
You supposed to be fasting too, but anyway, both of y'all in trouble because you drinking sugar drinks, eating candy off camera, and you've been cheating with the champagne and eating all kind of stuff in LA. But I ain't gonna say nothing to your trainer.
Both of y'all.
But here's where this
I ain't
all
gonna say
works
nothing to
out,
your
'cause
trainer,
we haven't
though.
got
It ain't good.
It's not good.
It's not as bad. It's not bad as that.
This is why I do this.
That's terrible.
Let's get our transition.
During 420.
Wow.
I have
you
a
just
great
gonna snitch
personal
on me
trainer.
like that?
Hey.
Side note,
I thought the streets don't snitch.
You thought, hey, this ain't the
Hey.
streets, this
Clearly,
bloom.
Cleveland's different.
No, we in Henderson right now.
I have a great personal trainer, by the way.
So do I.
Hey, that's great.
So I don't gotta worry about it.
So let's not talk about your cheating then, and let's not talk about drinks on the table. Let's focus more on
You started the drinks on the table.
Hey,
That was not me.
y'all shooting shots, I'm gonna shoot mine back.
Okay.
Speaking of personal trainers, as you graduated UNLV, what did you do like first coming out of college? Like where did things start? We know how phase one was that backlight, but what did you do right when you came out of college after graduating?
Basically, man, I went right to it. You know, I always been a worker. You know what I mean? I always been a hustler. Like, that's just been in me. Like I was telling her, we had parties in 8th grade. I was throwing, so I always had that. Even while I was playing football, I still worked a lot. You know what I mean? I remember getting called into NCAA compliance office because they like, you can only work so many hours because, you know, as an athlete, they only allow you to work. And I'm pushing the envelope because I'm trying to get it. So right when I got done, I literally went straight to work and started phase one. I was working selling cell phones at Sprint PCS in the Boulevard Mall. Great. Shout out to the Boulevard Mall.
Shout them out.
You know what I'm saying? Stay strong. Try to hang in there. But yeah, so I started doing that, and literally while I was working at Boulevard, I was starting phase one. Wow. I was literally selling cell phones, and in between, writing out the website, the business plan, all the other stuff that I needed, man, and just
So you
went
weren't
straight
like
to work.
personally training or doing any other stuff?
Nope,
or
not
another
at
gym?
all. Not at all, because the training side came later. In the beginning, the mission for phase one was all about helping high school athletes get scholarships.
Wow.
So it was more about camps, combines, events, highlight films, getting them exposure. And then what happened is about 3 years in, I started building relationship with college coaches, and they like, Mike, Vegas don't have that kind of talent. So your business ain't gonna work because it's just not enough talent in that city.
Right.
We know DeMarco Murray.
Right.
We know the elite kids, 2 or 3.
Right.
And everybody else is not D1. So really, we're not gonna. So I'm just like, wow. So I started evaluating it from their perspective, and I'm like, damn, they're kind of right. Because I'm got kids running 40s, 5'1", running back. And I'm just like, so I said, okay, time out. I can't focus on recruiting. I got to back up, focus on training. Because they got the natural ability. They didn't have the training and the work ethic.
Smart.
So I started training them. We running hills. We at the parks. So once I got that going, then the scholarship numbers started going up. The recruiting went up. And then it just turned into a full performance training center. Then later we brought in the fitness competition and just been rolling ever since.
That's awesome, man. You have 2 locations here and 1 in Hawaii. Correct?
Yeah. We got 2 here. Our main location is right on Blue Diamond. That's the big one, 20,000 square feet with indoor soccer arena, cryotherapy, everything. And then we also have one at the indoor sports park in Summerlin, which is awesome because they got the indoor soccer fields, so we're getting work. And then we got one out in Hawaii, in Kapolei. Yep.
Man.
How did you start the one in Hawaii? How did that come about?
Actually, a friend of mine used to live here, used to live in Vegas. I was training his nephew, and his nephew went from like no name to like full ride to Colorado. You know what I mean? Kind of situation. So, and through the training, and so he watched that process, and then he ended up moving back to Hawaii, and he kept hitting me like every year. It was weird. It was like almost like he had it in his phone. Every year he would send me the same email. That was like, we really need to bring phase 1 to Hawaii. And it would be like every year.
You're like, all right.
And I'm like, okay, when we gonna do it?
Right.
Like, and so literally probably by the 3rd or 4th year that he had sent that email, he was like, I'm ready. I'm like, well, let's work. And he played at U of H, so he had a name in the city.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's now there. He knows everyone, knows the coaches. And we launched, man, and we've been rolling, I don't even know how long, 7, 8 years now.
Awesome.
It's been a mission. So he out there killing it. Shout out to Paul Hawaii, phase 1 Hawaii.
That's right. Shout him out. Shout him out.
No doubt.
That's good.
Now, there's some advice that I always give our audience out here, and I always talk to them about having mentors. So, Mike, I want you to tell us about your mentor, because you have a unique story about the mentor that got you started. Especially when you spoke business plans.
My first mentor was Anna Seifert. She was a director for Nevada Micro Enterprise, which is a part of the SBA, if you're familiar with that. So I remember someone saying, you need to meet with her. Like, this would be a good person, because I was just starting business. No business experience. I didn't study business in college. I was a communication major. Right. So I didn't know much about business, but I had that kind of entrepreneur spirit.
Right.
So finally waited a month, finally get the appointment to meet with Anna Seifert. So I walk in the office right off of Desert Inn, and I walk in the office, I sit down, she's like, cool, what do you got? And I'm like, well, I'm starting a business, phase 1 sports. This is what we're going to do, help kids get scholarships, da-da-da-da. She was like, okay, let me see your business plan. And I was like, what happened? I was like, no business plan.
Right.
So she's like, gives me this little template thing, hands it to me. I need a business plan before we can move any further. So I'm like, cool. I just waited a month to meet with you. You literally in 5 minutes, I'm walking out the
Shut you
door
down.
with a
Like,
piece of
bye.
paper talking about.
Get out my office.
Yeah, literally, that's how she was. She was like, waste of time. Why are you here?
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So I go home, I start really opening up this business plan, and it's like competitive analysis, market analysis, and stuff that I had to like look up the definition
Google.
to even understand how to answer the, what is your competitive analysis? I'm like, what is, oh, cool, who else is doing it? So I worked through it, which was dope, because it really opened my mind up to see it from a different angle. So I worked for, I don't know, a month. I mean, I just worked, just hammering this out night after night. I went to Kinko's, because that's how old I am. I went to Kinko's to print out the business plan.
Yeah.
Printed
you
it out.
bind it?
Well, I put the
Yes!
the plastic clip on
Yo,
it
that matters.
because I couldn't do the bind.
Yes.
They want
It
a lot
matters
for that.
though. You have to. That's
Hey, I got the good paper. You know,
yes,
the
the heavy
gloss.
paper on the gloss. Yep.
Did that, They printed it out, put it in a little binder. Had I had 2 copies because I'm like, I gotta keep one. This memorabilia.
Right.
I'm on.
The phase 1.
What? Still got it. So I get done. I'm hyped. I set up my next appointment. It's like 2 weeks out. I walk in. I got my business plan. Boom, I'm ready. She like, cool, you got? I'm like, cool. I hand it to her. Boom, she flipped through it. She like, okay, looks good. She takes it out the little plastic thing, and she holds it up and rips it in half. I said, oh, I'm about to kill this lady. I'm about to kill her.
You're like, I'm going to jail.
All the SoCal, inner hood, everything. I'm
Everything you
like,
had suppressed.
I gotta kill her. I gotta kill her. It's the only way. It's the only way this is gonna feel better. She literally, I kid you not, ripped it in half and went, first business lesson. Things will never go as you planned it, and you have to be able to adjust.
Facts.
I was like,
That's real.
Game. That's real plug.
but did you have to
Wow.
rip my Kinko's paper?
Yeah.
You
just
can
hold
just tell
it
me
back.
that.
Right.
Like that would have given
So
me
she
information.
made a strong point,
Right.
and
That's
literally
savage.
strong point. And mind you, Anna is like 4'11"
Okay.
on a good day.
Right.
So it was just powerful. Like
Right.
you could feel that she
Yeah.
was the one. So she signed me up for some classes, some entrepreneur classes, and learning how to do books and this and all kind of, and literally ended up being the best thing that happened to me because that was the gap. I had the passion, had the energy, but I didn't have the business experience to transition from just a guy out in the park working with athletes to an
Right.
actual business owner. And there was a big difference.
Yeah.
So really she set me on the path, man. And we just had lunch not too long ago, a couple months ago. We just sat down and I mean, I tell her every time, and I owe her so much because she was hard on me. She was hard. But that's what it was. That's what got me to the point, teach me how to manage money, how to really see things from a different perspective, how to think further ahead. So she killed it, man. So she's my #1 mentor all time.
Man, shout out to her.
Yeah.
What's
right?
been the hardest lesson that you've learned so far? Business owner.
Detail. Paying attention to detail. Because I think, depending on what your area is. So if like for me, I love the interaction with people. I love the interaction with my athletes. We just had the big tournament up in Mesquite. So that's what I live. Like I love that part. But sometimes you kind of want to push back the detail to the business structure. Worst situation I've been in, this was years ago now, but my first location, that was a phase 1 location. Sign on the wall, drive by, you see the logo,
Probably.
you like, this is real now.
Right,
It just
right.
got real.
Yeah.
Sublease,
Was that on like Rainbow or something?
Spring Mountain and Jones.
Yep.
Spring Mountain and Jones.
I remember that.
Yep, logo on the wall. First one ever that's like phase 1. Did the sublease. Owners of the building, we worked it out. Gave me the price point. About, 6-7 months in, we were growing fast. We had the gym packed. They came back and was like, it's a little too chaotic. It's a lot of people, a lot of traffic. And in their defense, it was a physical therapy clinic or chiropractic clinic. So big gap between a whole bunch of
Yeah.
athletes, medicine balls flying,
Like,
and then like
pounding the wall.
70-year-old walker.
Right.
So I
Right.
get it. But the agreement was pay this much, do what you do.
Right. So the
Right.
bills getting paid. Rent's
Right?
getting paid.
Exactly.
Right.
So about 8-9 months in, it was she came back and was like, okay, we got to make some changes. Now I only want X amount of people in the gym at one time, and all these stipulations that weren't in our original agreement.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, so what are we adjusting the rent to? Because if I can't generate the revenue, we got to adjust the rent.
Right.
She's like, we're not adjusting the rent. You agreed to pay X amount. I'm like, that don't sound right.
You're
I
like,
ain't the
no.
smartest man in the world, but so anyway, the main lesson that I learned right in that moment is I didn't even have anything in writing.
That's so real.
Literally, I just was a young hype.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Hungry.
She like, here's your opportunity. Pay this much, do what you want. I mean, signage. So I'm thinking I'm good. I didn't have nothing on ink, no details. So when she came, I couldn't even say breach of contract. I
Right.
couldn't even
Paper
grab a
trail.
lawyer. I couldn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Yeah.
All I could do was really stand there looking dumb, like.
Yeah.
And I remember headed towards the end of the year, so November, I finished training, and it got to the point where I couldn't even barely pay rent because the rent was too high based on what I could
Yeah.
have in the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
So I could barely pay rent, so I finished November. I told all my clients that I was taking December off. Now, mind you, I was taking it off because of this situation.
Right.
But I had to say it as if this is the
Taking
slow
a
month of the
break.
year.
Yeah.
Right.
It's holidays.
Yeah, everybody go enjoy your family.
Right.
I
New
see y'all in
Year's.
January.
See y'all in
January.
family.
That's literally how I sold it. And everybody was like, okay, cool.
Right.
So during that time, I literally handed her a key on the last day of November and was like, I'm done. And she literally was like, well, what are you going to do? And I could tell it was more of that, like, you have no
Right,
options.
right.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I'll figure it out. So I did my little research, ended up at Las Vegas Athletic Club, which is almost like a nightmare in some ways.
Yeah.
Because when you have your own gym,
Right.
officially or unofficially,
Right.
and now you end up back in the biggest commercial gym in the
Yeah.
valley
Right.
with 7,000 people a day coming
The
through there.
nightclub of gyms.
Yeah, you like, how did what just
Well,
happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I got my athletes in January calling me to come back. Now I'm like, yep, but you need an LVAC membership. And we over here on 215 and
Right.
Flamingo.
Right.
You know, so it was just a lot. But luckily I had about maybe 15 or 20 loyal clients that was just straight up like, wherever you at, that's where we at. And then the hindsight being 2020, the gift was rent was $600, which was thousands
Right,
of
right,
dollars
right,
less
right,
than I was paying.
Right.
Super
Right.
savings.
Right.
Super savings. Rent was $600, unlimited, train all day. And my clients were still paying,
What they were
$300,
paying,
$400, $500 a month to train. So I'm looking up and I'm like, wait, I'm making $10,000, $11,000 a month paying $600.
Right.
So a year and a half later, I got enough money to open my own gym.
Nice. So it worked out. That's how God works.
Now it's my name, my lease.
Now you got them contracts.
Oh man, I done
The
magnified
lawyer
that
becomes
thing.
real important.
What?
That's top to bottom.
But I
Shout
had
out
to
to
learn
lawyers,
that,
yeah.
went through that process, and then you always look, because I'm a believer, so I believe that God always is in control, even when we don't know it.
Absolutely.
So when I walked out December 1st, I'm like, something gonna be good. I don't know what it was. It was like a leap of faith, but at the end of the day, about a year into the LVAC was like clear.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Right.
I'm here so I can stack and have
That's
my
right.
own,
Yep.
finally. So I got with Reg, got with Mel, 2 partners. Let's do this. They like, we got a building over here. We did it. We went, did the paperwork, got it, put the sign back up, and we rode. And we stayed in that building for 6 years.
Wow.
Yep, 6 years before we moved into the one we're in now, which is the larger one.
Right.
But I mean, lesson learned, man. But it ended up being a, you know what I mean? It was a blessing.
Worked out, yeah.
You know,
Everything fell
hidden
into
in the
place.
curse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Had to get it out the mud.
yeah, man, got to.
Yeah, so
Yes,
now
sir.
that everything is up and running,
Yeah.
you got all these clients that's been loyal. We were talking about the draft earlier.
Yeah,
show.
yeah, it's almost time.
You know, and here we are. You got
Yeah.
clients that
Yeah.
are potentially entering into the draft.
Yeah, yeah,
Can
I
you
got,
speak a little bit about it?
So I got 7 total that just finished their combine prep, which is basically their pre-draft training, and I mean it's the most elaborate program that we have.
Right.
I mean everything from literally meal prep, physical therapy, the training, the mental coaching, the film study, the position work. I mean it's elaborate. So we literally put together the whole program for the agents that these athletes sign with, and that way the agents can just know that we got it.
Right.
Right.
I'm gonna write phase 1 a check, and they're gonna coordinate everything that works around that.
That's awesome.
So
dope.
we had 7, but I'll tell you the 2 that I'm super excited about are Tony Fields,
Tony
Tony
Fields.
Fields, T Fields,
Desert
and
Pines High School
DP,
student.
Desert Pines, and Brevin Jordan,
Nice.
and Brevin
Oh,
Jordan,
Brevin's a
Bishop
beast.
Gorman.
Yep.
Yeah, so, and the reason I'm excited is because, so Brevin, for example, I remember Brevin being in our previous gym that I was just talking about, being about 11 years old, and we kept telling him to get down off boxes, he climbing on stuff, because his older brother was
Right.
training at the time, and he was just the little
Spectating.
brother.
Yeah, you spectating.
You know what I mean? And we
Side.
looking at mom
Child.
like, Mom, can you get
Get
the,
your
he's
kid,
hanging off the
right.
thing.
Right.
But, you know, we had a real cool environment, so we all having fun. We give him little drills to do. And now to look up and see that he's a grown man transitioning to the
Crazy.
National Football League.
Crazy.
Wow.
And then Tony Fields the same way. You know what I mean? Tony came to me young, I think maybe 8th, 9th grade. And he started working, playing some 7-on-7 with us, training with us. And then now, watching him at West Virginia just kill everything. And now he about to be in the NFL. So those are like, you know, that's like rewarding as it gets. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you see it. Because
Yeah.
you remember them at 13, 14,
Right.
Phase
15. And now You know what I mean? Like I just told Tony today. And now, in a couple months, I get to ask you for money to take care of the next generation.
You're like
Donate
that
to the
contract.
gym.
Hey, I told him. He was like, Mike, what you want? I said, oh, you already know what I want. I said, ask Brandon Marshall. Every year I go to Brandon Marshall. So we're starting our 707.
Right.
And,
You sending to
and
me.
we need some money. But yeah, so it's good, man. It's a blessing for real.
Now, we went through this, I mean, because I had to bug my team before we were trying to figure out logos. And since we've been talking about phases, like, share with us the phase of picking the logo and how you got into the logo you got today.
Oh, man.
They won't like to hear this.
Actually, I just transitioned logos. I'm in the transition period of a new logo.
How ironic.
So from day one, I've had three. This will be my number 3 logo. Now that I think about it. So the first logo really has the most sentimental value. You know what I mean? Because I created it in 2003 or whatever it was when I started phase 1, like from a vision. Like I saw it and I actually wrote it on a piece of paper and sketched it and did all the whole little thing. Can't draw, but I made it look good. You spend 8 hours, you learn how to draw because you're like, I want it perfect. And that was our original logo. That was the P1 with the little loop around it, or the one with the P around it. And that was our logo for years. I mean, from 03 all the way till about 4 or 5 years ago. Then we changed it because we moved into the new building. I had a new business partner. We like, let's be fresh, let's be new, let's recreate. You know what I mean? Let's create a little bit
New
more
vibes,
buzz.
yeah.
So we did it, which I like the logo. It has the Nevada shape in it, and that's probably the one most
Right.
people are seeing right now.
Yeah.
All over the place. Has the Nevada shape, and I love it. Now, fast forward almost 5 years later, I just recreated it to make it a little stronger, little more boxy, little more like something that's recognizable, like the Nike check.
Right.
I want
Yes.
people to, in 3 years, just be like, that's phase 1.
Yeah.
Even though it don't say phase 1 nowhere.
Right.
So, and the other reason I did it, because the Nevada logo is cool, but it represents here.
Hawaii.
I want to go global
Yeah.
now.
Right.
I want to be, you know what I mean? I want people in other countries like, I just bought your program. I just did this. They're a part of phase 1.
Yeah.
Not connected to the gym.
Right.
You know, because right now it's all about the gym. I
Right.
can't wait to come to Vegas so I can visit your gym. No, I want to have something for you where you're at.
Yeah.
And that's why I did that. So
Smart.
I would say, start with what makes the most sense, but don't be afraid to change it. I mean, it feels like it's scary in the moment, and I had a little anxiety. Not this time around, but when I first changed it, oh man, I lost sleep. I was so nervous. I thought business. I thought we were going out of business. I'm like, it's over.
You're like, it's over.
It's over.
I
It's
love
not
We'll
gonna
go
work.
to business.
important. No,
Yeah.
that's a part of brand.
And it is, man. But I think people are really about loyalty. I think people that love you.
Right.
You can just say we don't have no logo, and they'll be like, cool, we still
Yeah,
we
still
still
showing
yeah,
up. Yeah.
okay,
Right.
cool. Now I just can't get a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wouldn't
Right.
overstress, but just make the move, and if you gotta change it, change it.
Right.
It is what it is.
So it sounds
Y'all
like,
having a logo issue? Is that what's going on?
Not anymore.
No.
Oh, y'all got it worked
Shout
out?
to Dria, we figured it out.
Okay, good, good job.
So it sounds like you've already got the plans mapped out. Like, because the next question was going to be, what's in the books?
Yeah.
The future for Mike Waters in phase 1.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're trying to go international.
Yeah, I want to go. First, I want to really sweep the U.S. Of course. I want to
yeah.
start here. We do have a decent following in some other states that been watching everything that we've done
Right.
on our YouTube and all our different channels, our different outlets. But I've never really had anything for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they watch really as like, oh, that's dope. If I ever come to town,
Right.
I got you.
Check you out.
Right.
Right.
Now with the phase 1 brand, the new logo, the gear, we got the joggers, the hoodies, all the little cool gear. That's what we launched with. And now people in other states are ordering just because they like, I love what you're doing. I want
Right.
to represent. Now we're going to launch the programming to
Right.
where now we do the virtual training and the live Zooms and all the cool stuff
That's
to
dope.
bring people in. Now, no matter where you at, I'll try
Nice.
phase 1.
Right.
Nice.
So that's really what we're creating right now, is just being able to expand and take advantage of where we're at. It's 2021.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We all on IG.
Yep.
We all on, all social media.
Pandemic proof.
You see what I'm saying? So why not,
Yeah.
why stay cornered in our box when I know we have something that could reach the masses? So
Absolutely.
we trying to reach them.
But it also expands your demographic though too, because
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard about phase 1, I thought it was only about
Only
athletes
athletes, yeah.
and specifically male athletes for
Yeah,
the most part, like
yeah,
football and whatever.
yeah.
That's why when I came in and trained, I was like, oh no, like you can be a female athlete or not and
Yeah.
still train
100%.
here. So I think that's cool.
No, we love it. We got a little bit of everybody, And that's the thing. Our motto is everyone trains like an athlete. Period. So I don't care whether you're an athlete, trying to play, but we're going to train with that same mindset. We're going to take care of our body. We're going to run sprints. We're going to do stuff that athletes do. And at the end of the day, it's going to speed up those results.
Right.
Body going to be changing in a matter of weeks instead of months.
True.
It's true.
And that's the difference. And that's
No,
a big part
don't
of our
even.
success.
Don't look.
I think I
C's sitting
definitely
up.
noticed
Lord.
the
C's
difference.
sitting
Not
up.
even a day in.
For
Hey.
those that do not know, me and Dria have both signed up to work out with Mr. Mike Waters, and he was killing us.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's real.
I won't say was, because I'm still dying when I
Here's
leave.
my
it.
disclaimer.
Dying.
He hit me with the infomercial. Day one, he walked out, open his shirt. He all on IG. Like we've been training for months.
Yes.
So I appreciate that, the infomercial.
Of course,
He didn't even work out that day. He had just gotten
It
his
wasn't even-
It
measurements.
was a workout. It was
No,
a
you had
workout.
gotten your measurements.
We didn't
And like
It was
you
the
did 5
eval
minutes on
day?
the treadmill, and he thought that he
Yeah.
just like
He
yes.
came out that thing.
Because I did
the
that
streets
same
didn't snitch.
first day.
Hey, it's true, yeah,
I
it's
thought the streets didn't snitch.
First of all, I didn't have any vow day. He threw me right to work.
and from what I hear, he on FaceTime with no shirt on
Right.
and all kind of extra stuff. That's the word on the street. That's what I'm just saying.
Hey,
I don't know.
hey,
I
I
had
don't
to
know
pay
where
for
you
the
heard
show
that from.
somehow, so I sold all my shirts. I'm only
He went on
wearing one for the
OnlyFans.
show.
Yeah, love it.
And
Hey.
speaking of shirts,
Yes.
Speaking
And
of
branding
logos.
and logos, yes.
this is our plug sticker.
Let me see. That's dope. Love it. Love it.
And here you go, bro. This is my straight out of the
Love it.
Super Gap fold, but here's your plug t-shirt,
Oh,
my
that's
brother.
super
right
Gap.
there. Love it.
Yeah.
Man.
That's it, man. I love it. I
We
love
following
it.
your you
I-
following your advice,
I love what y'all doing.
and we taking the steps to brand
Yeah.
the show, man.
Where can they follow your gym? Like if the audience wants to follow
Yeah,
the gym and you.
I think for me, I'm on IG probably the most.
Okay.
You know, and my personal one is at I am phase 1. So I am PHASE and the number 1. And then our gym is Phase 1 Sports at Phase 1 Sports.
Nice.
And I would just advise people, man, jump on there, jump on our YouTube channel, which is Phase 1 Sports as well, because I do a lot of full, complete programs, nutrition advice, stuff that's just free sitting there.
Right.
If you got a young athlete, literally, you could watch that channel and go train your own athlete in the park off of those videos and the stuff that we're sharing.
Yeah.
Because that's just who it is. I have it all, but I want to give everything away.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what keeps my tools sharp, because now I want to learn more.
Right.
So
you-
it
you
sounds
gotta
like
do
you're
that.
lending game.
Yes. That's why we on the what? The
Oh,
plug.
I'm done. I think it's time for shots.
Yeah,
and I
real
think we
shots,
need to
real
wrap this
shots.
up.
The shots might what got us here. So
Yeah,
that might be
real-
why
real
we're
talk.
here.
Oh yeah, I'm getting called out, so I gotta go get my shot.
See, hey, I'm just gonna tell you, man, the
Put it
apparel
right
line, the apparel line gotta be next. Look at
Man,
that.
it's
already know.
busted.
Look at that
Already
right
know.
there.
It's in the
Oh,
works. It's in the
I'm
works.
telling
Appreciate you,
man.
brother.
Well
Thank
done.
you
Thank
again.
you for coming
Oh
on.
yeah, no worries,
Appreciate
man.
you.
Hey,
Yeah,
all
awesome,
love.
man.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank
what
you.
you guys are doing.
Thank you so much.
And I mean, at the end of the day, people need it. People need to hear it. They need to see it. I know it's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are like struggling, fighting to kind of keep it going.
Facts.
So they need this kind of energy. And no, it's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be worth it. So it's gonna be good. So I appreciate y'all for having me on.
Feelings mutual.
The plug himself.
All right.
All right, shot time.
Drinks.
Yep. Definitely get the drinks.
I am the plug. I am the plug.